Welcome back for another book talk video. Today's Suspense Saturday, but I'm continuing Jane Austen July discussions with Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. This was a book that came out in 2009 with a film that followed up in 2016. I think it's a lot of fun. The original novel, of course, Pride and Prejudice, is by Jane Austen. Seth Grahame-Smith has a great story he tells about how he became the author of this book. I just want to make sure you understand, I know that for some Jane Austen readers, this is blasphemy. But the way that copyright laws work, I mean, I'm not an attorney, but I assume because it's such an old book, they were able to get away with adding in and changing parts of the story and publishing it again. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a fun story. Seth Grahame-Smith is the same author who brought you Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, and I was really amused by that one as well. The book and the film. Oh, I enjoyed that film so much. The idea of Abraham Lincoln slaying vampires. So here we have Elizabeth Bennet and her sisters having been trained in China with martial arts, and they are amazing. They are action stars. They are zombie killers. The premise is that already at the beginning of the story, the countryside in England has roaming zombies. And it's an issue. Zombies are going to take over society, basically, because zombies are able to kill people faster than people are able to breed new human beings and raise them to be strong enough to fight off the zombies. It's a real struggle. So you actually get the story beats of Pride and Prejudice, but with a bunch of action scenes mixed in, which I think is fun. I think it's really exciting. Like when Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth are quarreling, arguing with each other, they are also basically sparring, fighting back and forth. When normally you would just have long parts of the books where people are talking to each other, visiting, it's broken up with scenes of zombies attacking. They get to talk while they fight the zombies. So you still get the core love story with Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. You still get the competition from the other lovers. You still get the drama with the sisters and the intrigue of who's going to marry whom and is their family going to have enough money to survive. So you still get all the big plot points, but you also get zombies all over the place. The book does a nice job. I think that Seth Grahame-Smith is a master at inserting the zombies into the narrative. The film I enjoyed more than the book, I believe, because of course it really comes to life on the screen as a zombie film in the 1800s. And to imagine that England is dealing with that is really interesting for that time period specifically. Because when you think about zombie films, they are normally set in the current present time, and thus people have automobiles, they have cell phones, they have all kinds of creature comforts and better defense systems. But back in the 1800s, they were walking everywhere, or they were riding horses, and it's a lot more complicated to fight zombies when you're on foot or when you're on a horse. I think it's great. If you find it blasphemous, then of course you don't have to read the book, but I would hope that any true fan of Jane Austen and Pride and Prejudice would at least consider checking out the book and or the film for Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I would think that there's a chance that you might be at least a little bit curious, even if you're not normally into horror. But if you are into horror, then it's great. It's really interesting how that the plot beats of a horror story align well with Pride and Prejudice. You wouldn't think that it would, but it does. It works out nicely. And so it ends up being a horror story that's got romance intrigue in it. I cannot recommend it enough if you're just sitting around bored and you don't have anything else to do. That's my book talk for today, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Every day is a good day for a book talk. Peace.